Okay, so let's start with this. Well, today we're gonna start checking about the reading section. We have finished about the writing and the speaking. So now we're gonna start checking. No. We're gonna start with the reading. Yeah. There. So in the reading section, you are going to, as the name says, you have to read a lecture and you have to answer questions about the same lecture. Okay? Normally, you have three passages to read. Okay, and each of them it's about 20 minutes to answer, and about from 12 to 14 questions. Okay, so three passages. Now you have to manage the clock. You decide how much time you spend on each passage and question. One passage takes about 20 minutes to complete. In this case, um, you decide how much time you spend in every question. So you can take like 1 minute answering one questions and 5 minutes answering the other question, but it isn't a timer there that says how much time they have to spend. Okay, but in this case, you decide, and also you can scroll down, scroll up. So if you want to see the other questions. On the test day, you can answer the questions in any order. For example, you can answer questions 9 first, then scroll back to question 1, etc. Okay, and in this case, because it is a multiple choice selection, you have to answer even if you don't know the answer. Okay, so don't let spaces without answer. It's better if you maybe you trust in your inner you. Maybe they has the answer. So this reading section is the first section on the TOEFL test. It's about 1 hour because three passages about 20 minutes each. And this section measures your ability to read academic passages and answer questions about them. So far, um, you have seen how TOEFL recycles the same prompts and questions. So mostly they talk about the same structure or different things. Okay, so we can say that the TOEFL is predictable. So you can guess how is the topic about because you might see in a different prompt during the test. Okay, so you can also check or decide, try to follow the structure of the three steps, like seeing the introduction, then the examples, and the last looking for the conclusion if there is one. You can see that and organize your ideas. Okay, so this is, for example, a passage. So here you will see the numbers, you will see the words highlighted because in a question you might use it like this. You can start it like this. It obvious is always divided in paragraphs. So this one has 4 paragraphs. You will see these little points in here and the complete little paragraph into it. So you might answer something about that. Okay. So everything that is highlighted, everything that it has little points there, you will be using it. But sometimes they say that it's not a good idea to start reading completely, like everything, because it takes too long. and you will spend much time reading, and at the time of the answer, you won't have enough. Your lack of time at that time. Okay. So in the other hand, some people say that is also good to check about it because you get the context and it's easier to understand and it's easier to answer. So depending on how fast you can read is the way you decide if you can start reading completely or going one by one. At the time of the TOEFL, you will see the question on your right and the reading on your left, or vice versa. But it's one next to the other. So when they say from the paragraph 3, here it shows the paragraph 3, what the highlighted word is applied for. And then you can understand, you can relate it to the one. Okay. So very quickly, let's give a reading to these paragraphs. Okay. So please, Pablo, can you start reading this first paragraph?
Yes. Adam Smith was born in Scotland in 1723. As a young man, he studied moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow and at Oxford. He eventually went on the tutor a nobleman's son. A nobleman's son. The position freed Smith from his daily work while affording him the opportunity to tutor while traveling throughout Europe. In France, Smith met Rousseau and Voltaire, leading proponents of the European Enlightenment. At its core, the European Enlightenment, guided by reason and science, questioned customs, moral, and traditional institutions, namely monarchies. Returning to Scotland, Smith set about writing his seminal and inquired into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations.
Thank you. Let's continue with ingeniero o ingeniera mecatrónica.
Sorry, it's me, Guillermo. I'm
Okay.
gonna change the name. It's what for my work, the account for my work.
Okay. Okay, Guillermo, please, the next paragraph.
Sorry. Yeah. In the Wealth of Nations, Smith argues that building national economic wealth begins with a division of labor. Smith supports his argument by using a pin factory. In a typical pin factory of the day, each worker was responsible for making pins from start to finish. A worker would start by cutting the pin to size from a piece of wire, then straighten it, then sharpen the end, affix the head, polish it, then package it. In short, one man was responsible for each step of the pin making process. Smith argued that such an approach was not only counterproductive, but also time-consuming in as much as one of a worker finished one part of the task, say polishing a pin. He would pause before moving into the next task. Such an approach, Smith argued, was inefficient, for workers were likely to saunter or pause between steps, which was time and substantially reduced productivity. Smith argued that the most efficient way to make pins was through a division of labor. Instead of 10 men each separately making a pin from start to finish, each will be assigned one task. For example, one man would shape the pins all day, another would polish them, while a third would package them, and so on. By dividing the labor this way, Smith theorized that the production of pins would dramatically increase. As a result, there would be more pins to sell and thus more money to be made. Smith's scientific approach to rationalizing the manufacture process of gathering productivity was indeed the product of 18 men through a
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment true.
So, correct. Thank you. Pablo, next one.
Yes, a division of labor, however, was but one part of Smith's argument for creating wealth. An integral part of the wealth-making process, Smith claims, is the pin worker himself. He is performing his assigned task not for society's benefit, not for the benefit of the company, but for his own personal gain and security. The same follows with the owner of the pin factory. He too is out for personal gain, the health and the wealth of the nation, the least of his and his workers' worries. Yet, by pursuing individual gain, Smith argues that the workers and the factory's owner are in fact directly adding to the wealth of the nation by utilizing a more efficient manufacturing process, one which stimulates trade, the building and selling of goods, logically, nationally, and internationally. Smith coined this process, the invisible hand.
You. And the last part says the will of nation is very much a reaction to the predominant economic theory of the day, that of mercantilism. Mercantilism posited that the will of nation depended on developing and maintaining national power, thus it was a form of economic nationalism. Spain, at the time of Columbus, is a prime example of just such a nation. A nation like Spain preserved national power by accumulating as much gold as possible through strong exports, the limitation of imports, and a large population of poorly paid workers. To develop sports, companies were subsidized by the government, which also wrote laws to limit imports. By limiting imports, the gold used to pay for imports would stay in the country and create a greater money supply and more credit. Moreover, nations were geared toward acquiring and maintaining gold at all costs, including warring with each other. Adam Smith, however, argued that trade benefited all nations and the gold was not equal to wealth. Gold, Smith said, was like any other commodity, such as wheat or wool, and that it deserved no special treatment. More importantly, Smith says that the wealth of nations is not based on the hoarding of gold, but on the free flow of goods manufactured in a systematic way, a way that serves the needs of the individuals and ultimately the nation as a whole. With that, Adam Smith gave birth to what we now call economic theory. As Thomas Edison is to the light bulb, Adam Smith is to the science of economics. Okay, so here in this lecture talks about an economics thing, how this was created and all this stuff, some examples. Okay, and when you get to the to start answering the questions, because it will show you the first paragraph with the first question at the same time. Like here is the paragraph, and here is the question. All like that. Okay. Then mostly, well, all of them are multiple choice, and some of them are to complete things, to manipulate a sentence and put it in the correct space where it belongs, and to summarize the ideas into different order of factors that they are given. Okay, so as you can see here, they will say, according to paragraph 1, when was Adam Smith born? So here they send it directly you to the paragraph 1. So do you have to check all the text? No, because they are sending directly to paragraph 1. There are some questions that that asks you to explain or to select the correct option that explains the real reason of all the lecture. In that case, you have to read it, or depending on how much you understand, reading little parts from each, it's how you get your answer. Okay, so here we can see we have multiple choices. Yeah, so um, yeah, so we have question one, two, three, and they ask for specific words. The words that are highlighted, they will say according to the word highlighted in paragraph one or the second sentence, etc. So you can see it. Also, said about it. They are asking about, and specifically in which paragraph you can find those the answers. Okay. Now there are questions like this number 6 that it says in paragraph 2, Adam Smith believes that economic wealth starts with what? The mercantilism, a factory, an invisible have, a division of labor. So in the second paragraph that they ask, you will see according to the signal word, the connector, the word is the correct answer. Like it says here, if you read the passage from the start to finish, do a close reading. Then you go back and answer the questions. You will waste time. As a result, you will not be able to answer all the questions. To save time and answer all the questions, you must scan and skim for answers using question signal words. So here, what are the signal words? They select economic, wealth starts with, and in the reading, you can see the Wealth of Nations. Smith argues that building national economic wealth, that is the key word, economic wealth, begins with, starts with, so that's a synonym, and the answer, a division of labor, a division. So you might say that, wow, this is super easy. Huh? There are questions that are super easy, that are like very obvious. And then there are some other questions that you need to understand the context of what you are reading. Okay, so that is important. Then we have number 7. In paragraph 3, what does Smith mean by the invisible hand? So in that, you need to check the paragraph 3 and with this if there are words related to this. Paragraph 3, why does Adam Smith mention the pin worker and the owners of the pin factory? The options. Then let's say look at the 4 squares. They indicate where the bold sentence below will be added to paragraph 4. Click on the square to insert the sentence into the passage. This is the sentence that you have to include in the paragraph. Witnessed England and Holland battling for control of present-day Manhattan in the early 16th century. So according to that, this statement could be added in which part of this paragraph? For that, you have to select, you have to choose where place from these 4 squares is the correct place where it belongs. Okay. How do you do that? You click on the sentence, just click, just one click, and you drag until you think it belongs. Could be here, could be here, could be here, or could be here, depending on what you're reading. Okay? Then continue with your multiple choices. It says, from the passage, it can be inferred that Adam Smith probably, you have the options here, and which of the following sentences best restate the essential information in the highlighted sentence in paragraph 4. Incorrect choices will change the meaning and omit important information. So from the old paragraph that are highlighted, all this, where which of these options summarize the ideas from the fourth paragraph. Okay, then you select. Then you have here, like says, directions. The sentence in bold is the first sentence of a brief summary of the passage. Complete the summary by selecting 3 answer choices. Your choice will express the most important ideas in the passage. Some choices are not into the passage or do not express important ideas. This is a 2-point question. It's important because it is a 2-point question. Okay, so it starts with the title is the passage discusses Adam Smith's book, The Well of Nations. Then you select 3 of the options given. Just like the answers. Okay, so these kind of questions measures your ability to identify some information, to understand it. This question type starts with a topic sentence in bold. The topic sentence starts a short summary of the passage. You must complete the summary below the bold sentence. There will be 3 bullet points and 6 sentence choices. Choose this sentence to complete the summary. Click, drag on each choice beside a bullet point. You do not have to put the answers in order. This is a 2-point question. And for the last, the question 13, in paragraph 4, the phrase subsidized by is closest in meaning to invested in, recorded by, awarded by, subsumed by, and you select the best option. Then in the last question you can see here, it says complete the following table by indicating how Adam Smith's economic theory in the Well of Nations different from what the mechanic believed. This is a 4-point question. In this case, you have to drag which of these you think goes here, which are for mercantilism, and which are for Adam Smith sentence. Okay. So far, do you have any question?
Yeah, the 14, the last one is if you do all right, You have 4 points, or
You get 4 points, yeah.
you can have 3 or 2 points depending on how many
How
goods
many
you have.
goods you have? Yeah, it divided.
Okay.
So maybe you could have 3 corrects, 4 corrects, depending on what you get. It's depending how much points you get. Okay. So let's give a try. I don't know if you think that it's necessary to start reading again or you remember.
I think I remember something, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I
Okay,
think it's okay.
let's try to do it.
Okay.
And if you don't remember at all, so we can go back. Okay. So the first question says, according to paragraph 1, when was Adam Smith born? A, in the late 16th century, in the early 18th century, in the late 18th century, in the early 17th century.
I think it's the C.
Letter C. What do you think, Guillermo?
I'm not sure, but I think this is C.
Also C.
18th century. Yeah. Yeah, C.
Okay, for example, here we have the option, and you are not seeing. At the time of the TOEFL, in the real, you will have the reading there. So where we can find the information. It says, Adam Smith was born in Scotland in 1723. 1723, sorry. Okay, so what is age for that? In the late 18th century. Do you understand how to use centuries?
Yes.
Okay, so what? You
What
stay
was the
with the
option?
C?
No, the options we cannot see the options.
Yeah.
In the late 16th century,
D.
the in the early 17th century.
Oh, no. In the early 18. B.
Early 18.
Early 18. B.
Do you agree with?
Yeah, I'm agreed.
Okay. So according to that, because he was born in 1723, so it means that we're talking about the 18th century, isn't it? And it's the early 18th century. Okay, good. And this is a correct answer, letter B. Now the second says, in paragraph 1, proponents is closest in meaning to A, associates, B, opponents, C, supporters, D, professionals. We continue on paragraph 1.
What is the options, teacher? What are the options?
Associates, opponents, supporters, or professionals.
Mm. Can we see the text again?
I think it's A.
Mm.
So we have, when you see only the word highlighted, you can write one line over and one line below. So you may understand the context about this word. So he says, the position freed Smith from his daily work while affording him the opportunity to tutor while traveling throughout Europe. In France, Smith met Rousseau and Voltaire, leading proponents of the European Enlightenment. Okay? They are leading. So proponents are associates, opponents, supporters, or professionals.
I think it's more closest to supporters.
I think
Supporters,
I think it's A. Associated.
associates, supporters. Why supporters, Guillermo?
Uh, well, a proponent is like someone that proposes something, if my definition is correct. It's something that says something that I think two other words, so synonym. To support? Yeah, well, that's zero.
Okay. And what do you think associates?
I think because it says it's proponing something and leading something, leading some groups, some people in France. So associates could be.
Okay. Okay, again, something important to understand is the word leading, proponents of European. So here in France, Smith met Rousseau and Voltaire's leading proponents. So Rousseau and Voltaire were leading these kind of people of the European Enlightenment, leading proponents. The correct answer is the letter C, proponents. In that case, we can understand the word proponents as the person suggests things like Voltaire and this guy asks for new ideas and some other stuff. It's similar to politics. For example, here in Mexico, we have a selection of the candidate, something like that. I don't like politics, and they lead some of the proponents that they say that yeah, vote for this guy, it's the best thing, so they can understand or they make them understand that it's a good reason to vote for these people. They are the supporters. They are helping. They are um, supporting. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it has a lot of sense.
Right. So the correct option is letter C, supporters. Now, the number 3 says, what is not true of the European alignment? Here we have to be worried or be careful because it says not. If we read it fast and we don't understand that it's the not, we will change one that is incorrect. So that's why we need to focus on the word that is not. What is not true of European alignment? And we have as an option, it was based on reason, it was challenged customs and morals, it was supported by King of Queens, it valued science. It valued science. Which one do you think is the correct option? Let's go for same. For example, when you see here, the keyword that we could find from the question, I'm saying the truth of the European Enlightenment. You can focus on that, looking for that thing like here. Maybe you can find more than one time. So, of the European Enlightenment. Yeah, better to say anything else. In its core, the European Enlightenment, guided by reason and science, questioned customs, morals, and traditional institutions, namely monarchies. Questioned customs. Returning to Scotland, Smith said about writing Seminole. Okay, so from that, what is not true of the European Enlightenment? It was based on reason. It challenged customs and morals. It was supported by kings and queens. It valued science. What do you think?
Can we read the text again?
Sure.
I think it's be the monarchies, queens and well, kings and queens. It was support kings and queens.
Okay, what do you think, Paulo?
It's tricky, but yeah, the C could be.
Okay, and that is a correct answer. It was supported by kings and queens. That is not correct. That is not true. The monarchists, let's say, in this spot, they say they question customs, moral and traditional institutions, namely monarchies. So they question these things. So if you question it, monarchies won't support you anymore.
Yeah.
So it was supported by kings. No, they don't support this. Okay. And so on. We have the question here. Remember, these questions type measure your ability to identify general and specific information in the paragraph. On the right side of the screen, you can answer the reading questions in any order, and you can change your answer, but do not. Trust your intuition and move on. Sometimes we feel like, this is not correct, so I'm gonna change. And at the end, you realize that actually it was correct. So because you change it, you had it incorrect. So sometimes your intuition knows what is the answer, so follow that. Instead of your intuition is telling you that something totally different, something that you know that is not okay. In that case, don't believe in your intuition. In other case, believe, trust in your intuition. It can help you a lot. So if you didn't understand the text, you didn't find anything correct information, you always could select whichever you want. Select the beauty one. So just to select, maybe it will be fine. It will be correct. Okay. Then we have to move with another questions like in paragraph 1, what does set about mean? So you go and check the paragraph 1 about the question, what does get about mean? What does set about mean? So in that case, you confirm your answer from the paragraph. A, finish, set up, review it, comments. And you see they are multiple choice. So in this option, in this section, normally you can find the multiple selection to answer.
Hello.
Okay, then we have the one we already saw. Now, it says in paragraph 3, what does Smith mean by the invisible hand? So you have to check, you have to see what is the keyword, what is the word that is related to the answer. So what you need to find out in the lecture, the invisible hand, because it's asking what does that mean. So you have to be sure about it. Okay. Then in paragraph 3, why does Adam Smith mention the pin worker and the owner of the pin story? And we have again the options A, B, C, and D. And you have to select only one answer. Okay. But now, what happened with this square? You need to put this statement into the text in one of these squares. You have to select which one is more coherent, or it belongs here. Okay. Now you have to be careful, like giving the trick. You need to understand the context. In that case, yes, you need to read the little paragraph, and it says, a nation like Spain preserved national power by accumulating as much gold as possible through strong sports, the limitation of imports, and a large pollution of poverty paid workers. Then you can read it with the sentence, so you can see if it match with what you're saying. The context is almost the same. So in this case, you select where it belongs. Try to match it. Where do you think it belongs? You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which one do you think it belongs?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll think.
I think in the 4, in the last one.
Yeah. Do you agree with?
Mm, yeah, can be the last one.
Okay. In that case, what are we But what do we need to infer from the text where it says witness England and Holland battling? Here, the word battling you may understand as fight, fight for control of present day Manhattan in the early 16th. So in that case, what they are looking for is something related to battling. And the only statement that talks about battle is this one. Moreover, nations were geared toward acquiring and maintaining gold at all costs, including warring with each other. Witness England and Poland. Poland battled for control of each day, maintaining the early 16th. So it belongs there. It actually belongs in the square number 4. Because the other three, they don't match correctly, or they don't match very much. The idea is not understandable, like here. That's why here is the correct option. Okay. And the time of the TOEFL, you have to click on the sentence. You click and you move to here. And that's how, by itself, all this statement will be located in this, period. Okay, it appears there. Okay. Then one more multiple choice. Okay. Some other multiple choice let you select more than one answer. Okay, and normally that is a 2-point question when you select more than one answer. Now he says, which of the following sentences best restates the essential information in the highlighted sentence in paragraph 4? Incorrect choices will change the meaning of omit important information. Now you had to go to that page and the highlighted sentence, it is not correct, so it is missing that sentence. You could say, more importantly, Smith says that the wealth of nation is not based on the hoarding of gold, but on the free flow of goods manufactured in a systematic way, a way that serves the nerves of the individual and ultimately the nation as whole. That is the one that you got highlighted. When you have it there, you might have your answer. A. Adam Smith adds that the wealth of nation depends upon serving the needs of the individual first. Smith goes on to say that free trade is the best way to create wealth. Smith goes on to say that free trade is the best way to be creating wealth. Moreover, Smith says that the nations become wealthy by accumulating gold and by systematically manufacturing goods, which are then freely treated. And the last, Smith believes that systematically manufactured goods, freely treated, create more national wealth than accumulating gold. If you go again, here is the sentence. Which one do you think it belongs?
The last one, the D.
Letter D. Smith believes that systematically manufactured goods freely trade create more traditional what than accumulated. And that is correct. That is the correct answer. Then here is mostly the same. This is a 2-point question where you need to select 3 statements or 3 paragraphs that summarize all the lecture. I mean, 3 ideas that summarize the lecture. And it says here, the sentence goal is the first sentence in brief of a brief summary of the passage. Complete the summary by selecting 3 answer choices. Each choice will express the most important ideas in the passage. Some choices are not in the passage or do not express important ideas. It is a 2-point question. So from here, you will moving uh, till they stay here in these 3 little points. Okay. And for the last but not the least, we have another multiple choice and the one that summarize the ideas from the mercantilisms and Adam Smith. So from here, again, you have to click on it and drag where do you think it belongs. Okay, so this is the way you can answer those questions, and this is the way that you can understand things. So as you can see here, if you don't take notes, like in the other way, in the other, um, it is usual. It's okay because remember you will see the reading next to the question, so you can be selecting which of this. Okay, so the first reading that you can give is to get the context, because normally the first question or the first 2 questions are to ask what is the main purpose of everything. Sometimes. So till here, guys, do you have any question?
Yeah, I have one. So one strategy would be don't read all the text in the beginning of the reading part and go straight to the questions.
Yeah, you will have the time to read it completely because normally the questions are like that. In paragraph 1, what the highlighted word implies is directly to that paragraph. So you don't have to read all the lecture to understand just the first paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the way. Okay. So today we have 2 questions to finish. There's the normal one that how was the class today, and how do you think it goes till this point? Are you satisfied with the course to this point? Yes or no? Please answer the little survey. Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
Done.
Teacher, I have a question about
Tell
the
me.
writing. Can you go back to the other questions that you maybe didn't do or didn't make? But in the exam, I mean.
If you can scroll up, scroll down, yes.
Okay.
So you can answer if you want. You go directly to question 9. Yes, go scroll down.
Okay, that's fine.
And if you want to answer the question 1 first, go there.
You can change the answers maybe.
You can, but it's not that recommended.
Okay.
Because sometimes the first one that you answer is the correct answer. And if you change it, it's like 50-50.
Oh, yeah,
You
okay.
might correct it or you might lose the point. And like it.
Ah,
So
okay, okay.
sometimes just if you are really sure that the one that you are changing is the correct answer, change it, of course. But if you're like, should I change it? Don't do it. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will
Sure.
see you next class.
See
See
you
you,
next.
teacher.
Bye.